Corey Swergas here for Slap News, and I am with Azael Rodrigues. How you doing today, my man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for joining me. I know you are down there in the Caribbean paradise. What is the day in the life of Azael like right now?
Uh, so ever since I moved out here to the Caribbean, I had quit my job. So all day, every day, it's just me focused on training, dieting, and then taking care of my wife. Pretty much, she's in school pretty much for like 10 hours. So I'm here just trying to get her fed, making sure the house is clean, and then just doing stuff on the side for our own sake, our own financial sake.
That's awesome, man. I mean, you started out obviously in mixed martial arts. What found your way to slap fighting, and how did you get involved with power slap?
Yeah, so I've always been involved in combat sports since I was a kid. Started off with Taekwondo, did that for like 5 years, then went on to kickboxing and boxing. And boxing kind of stuck afterwards until my current age. But it's always been a on and off thing with boxing, just because I had other goals in mind. One of them it was to get my bachelor's degree and just secure a career where I could just have a foundation for my family. I don't have a family like a kids yet. I just have my wife, but we've been together forever. So just been it was a focus on different goals than just fighting. So so then after I graduated, I just started just focus on my training and focus on losing all that weight that I gained during my college years. I don't know if you know about the freshman 15. For me, it was like freshman 60, pretty much. I gained like
Wow.
60 pounds in college. Um, so then after college, I just started training again, and then COVID happened, and COVID was pretty much what got me to lose all the necessary weight that I had been stuck on. I got stuck on a plateau. So when COVID hit, it was just like, let's get this ball rolling. So I started working out extra hard and lost like, I want to say like 30 pounds. And then I was like, okay, now I'm at the weight that I want to be boxing at. Um, but I still want to go a little bit more down. So then next thing you know, I move out to the Caribbean. Um, I see a TikTok from Dana White. Um, he's announcing the power slap competition that he's doing. So then I immediately click on the link that he had put. It just called for me because I just knew that ever since I was a kid, I've been in street fights all my life pretty much. So I knew that I had the power. I knew I had the chin power. I've always been super confident in my knockout ability. So I just applied, and then next thing you know, a couple weeks later, Power Slap hits me back up, and they're like, "Hey, stay tuned because we're in the works of deciding whether we want you or not." So then I was like, "Okay." I didn't even think this was real at this point. I thought that this was a scam. I started doing my own research with researching Pilgrim Group, started emailing different people from the UFC, hoping to get some response. And right away, I think it was Gary that hit me up right away. He said, "Hey, man, this is not a scam. This is 100% real." So then I was like, okay. Then I told my wife, right when I got that second email that said, "Hey, we want you. Would you be willing to come for a set period of time?" Told my wife about it, and she was super on board. And next thing you know, I'm in Vegas, just competing for a chance to get into the slap house.
Let me ask you the question then. Were you made for slap fighting, or is slap fighting made for you?
I think, shit, that's a hard question because I think both, man. I think I was made for this. I've always just I like I said, I've always, that machine where you hit and you at the arcades and you get that big power. I've always
Yeah.
just been super cocky, and every time I see one, I just want to break the record. So when slap happened, I was like, dude, this is me. This is for me. Like, this is
Yeah.
actually a sport that that I'll for sure be good at. Not that at boxing, just boxing, I never gave myself a chance to actually compete. But yeah, I guess both. We're both meant for each other.
Awesome, man. You talked about it on the show as well about moving to the Caribbean. I think you're probably living the dream that a lot of people, wish they could have during COVID. Like, how did all that happen? Like, are you just independently wealthy? Do you come from money? Did you work your ass off to be able to afford the financial freedom to do that? Like, how did all that come about?
Yeah, man. That's a great question. So I graduated with my bachelor's probably in 2016. So for about 6 years, I just been working my ass off in my career. I was social, or my role was a service coordinator working with individuals with developmental disabilities. So I had just worked my ass off to one increase my credit because it was pretty shitty when I was in college. To save up as much money. My wife and I didn't think we were going to come to the Caribbean. We knew we were going to move out somewhere out of state just for her to do her veterinarian studies. We just didn't know what. So for us, it was just like, let's save up as much money as possible. Let's build our credit up. So that way, wherever we move, we could either invest in a home, and then or do whatever we need to do. If I moved out of the state to a different state, I would have definitely moved, gotten a similar job to what I was working at. But then the Caribbean happened. So we aren't wealthy at all. We just changed our lifestyle, and it just worked out where we were able to pay off all of our debt. We were able to save up a lot of money, and then we're out here just trying to just live with the money, not necessarily with the money we have saved up. We don't want to touch that, because when we move back to the States, we want to buy a house in San Diego. So that's what we have in mind for the next 3 years. We're going to buy a house in San Diego. So we're just going to continue just living our life out here. She's doing her studies. I'm doing my training. And yeah, we just learned financially responsible.
That's great to hear, because a lot of people don't have the financial literacy. And if you're looking to buy a home in the San Diego market, it's piping red hot. So you'll definitely need to keep that nest egg intact. You're probably the only slap fighter in the Caribbean. Do you think it's a benefit for you to be down there and be isolated, or do you find there's challenges of not being able to train with other people that have knowledge of the sport, skills, techniques? Like, is it a pro or is it a con to be isolated where you're at?
Damn, you have some really good questions.
I'm bringing the fire, man. I'm bringing the fire. I don't fool around.
All these things I've been thinking about, like these are things that we really need to touch, Okay, so to answer your question, I have thought about, so after the whole Power Slap House happened and all these competitions, I did have a discussion with my wife about possibly moving back to San Diego and having like a back and forth commute to the island and back to San Diego, because I have a boxing coach out there. I have my friends that I train with on a daily basis. So there's a lot of support when it comes to training with people. Whereas in the island, I don't have that. In the island, it's just me by myself. So everything that you're seeing in Slap is just Azael's workouts on his own. I don't have anyone out here. So I did travel back to San Diego for like 2 weeks before going to Vegas, and kind of tried it out to see how it was going to be. I was training there with my friends, my boxing coach. But I just had too many distractions. I wanted my family's out there. I wanted to hang out with them. My friends are out there. I wanted to hang out with them. On the weekends, we tend to want to go out and drink and stuff like that. So it was definitely a way more distractions out there. There were definitely way more distractions. So now that I'm here, I just got back from an after slap show like 2 weeks ago. So I just been training, and I honestly feel a little bit better just being by myself. So I think it's better to be isolated out here. It's better to be away from like my loved ones. I have my wife. That's the only person that I need pretty much. So it's okay. It's helping me out. It's benefiting me. So you'll hopefully you guys get to see that in the next upcoming matches.
Yeah. I mean, that's a perfect segue here. I mean, you seem to be a real genuine good guy, down to earth. Talk about those distractions and the way that the TV has portrayed you to be, a drunken fool. I don't believe that to be the case. So let's take a little bit of time. Let's set the record straight that you aren't, that type of person. Like, watching it back and seeing how they're portraying you in the show, how does that make you feel? And, just set the record straight of who you are and what your daily and weekly life is like.
Yeah, it definitely made me feel it made me feel to the point where I didn't want to watch the episodes, just because there was like a lot of the previews was just Azael's at it again, Azael's at it again. So it was just it was a little bit I was just there was a lot of anxiety coming into watching these episodes. I was like, no, I don't want to watch these. But you know what? I started realizing these last 5 episodes have been pretty much centered on me in the worst way. But I mean, it got my name out there. So I guess it's okay. But to set the record straight, I'm not that person that they portrayed. I am someone who takes his training serious. A lot of people out there think that a lot of us aren't athletes. A lot of us are athletes. You have people out there like Carice. You got people out there like Robert Trujillo who are pro MMA people. You got the Iron Giant there. He trains his ass off. So a lot of us do live a lifestyle where we're training consistently on a daily basis. So that's where my life lies right now. Not that I'm like out there drinking every day, not that I'm out there drinking every weekend and getting drunk like that. No, that's just it was a different environment. I feel like a lot of it was also environmental. Just we were in a house full of a lot of testosterone, a lot of fighters that wanted to prove themselves. And here comes Azael, who got drunk, got comfortable with everyone pretty quick, and they kind of took it out of proportion as well, the guys in the house. So I kind of get where all the drama happened, but they also didn't show the full extent of what caused all those encounters with some of the fighters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you get any text messages from family, friends, or even your wife's reaction? Like, what is she, what are they saying? What's your wife saying about seeing you in this way? Because they probably know you in a different light.
I mean, we come from a Mexican family. We like to party. We like to drink during like birthday celebrations. Any celebration, we're out there drinking. So it wasn't my family didn't really like judge or anything. It was just like, I said, like, what happened? So then I kind of had to tell them, you know what, like, and they've seen me drunk, I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten drunk, but not like to the point where I'm like always like getting down or trying to defend myself. So that's something that I did have to clear. Because, if you've seen the episodes, they have seen me where it's me just like barking and just trying to get everyone to like fight and whatever. So I kind of did have to have those explanations. And my wife was pretty much, she was probably the most upset. So she was just like, hey, like, this is going to be on national TV and you're over here doing these things. Like, what the fuck? But, yeah, I think that was the hardest person to like talk to. But she's over it. I think this last episode, she's like, is that the last of it? I was like, that's the last of it. But I was like, those were only like 3 days that I got drunk. So like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? As you said, it definitely got you the press. They got your name out there. People know about you. People are talking about you week after week. But let's kind of change gears a little bit and let's actually talk about the matches itself, because under all of those shenanigans, there's actually some serious skill. So let's bring it way back to March 2022, with your match against Jose Gaspar. Let's kind of talk a little bit about that matchup and how it went. Jose, did you know him before going in?
So it's Jesus.
Sorry, Jesus. Sorry.
So and our match was actually in December, so we weren't even in the March bouts. So I think a lot of the drama also happened because here comes this guy from brand new in December, and he made it into the house. But anyway, that's besides the point. So my match with Jesus, that one came super randomly because I think I weighed in like at 177 or something, and he weighed in like at 173. So they matched us up because we were closer in weight than I was against the 185ers. So that's where I don't know if you've heard, but I had, when I was drunk at one of the nights, I was like, I'm the real 185er. And after my match with Emmanuel, I'm the real 185er. But that's where it kind of stems from. A lot of the guys didn't think that I had what it takes to be a 185er because I was always weighing at 178. And I mean, you've seen my matches, but with Jesus, man, when they told me that Jesus was going to be my opponent at first, I'm going to be honest. I looked at Jesus. Here's this shorter guy with glasses. He didn't really look like he had much. I shook his hand to say, okay, we're going to be fighting against each other. The moment that I shook his hand, I realized, damn, this guy has a good grip and he has a big ass hand. I was like, man, this guy's going to bring it. And then he took off his shirt to put on the different jersey that they gave him. And man, he has some like physique in him that you're like, oh shit, I'm going to fight this dude. He has what it takes. Dude, when our first match happened, we were up there on the stage, and Jesus, I think I had the first slap, and I slapped him, which I think I slapped him pretty hard, and he didn't go down. And I think that was the moment where I realized, you know what? It's either my technique is not down or Jesus just has that chin. Because the motherfucker's not going down. So he slapped me, and his slap is actually the first ever slap that I've received. It's probably the first ever hit that I've received in a while. I hadn't been sparring for a while, and I hadn't received any like sudden like hits like that. So it was a big shock when he slapped me. I was like, whoa, he actually like I felt like my eyes were like kind of like there. I was like, oh shoot. But then once I snapped out of it, that's when I think that was the slap that I needed for my body to just absorb the rest of the slaps that come. I think a lot of the fighters, they get hit and their body just naturally adapts, like if you get hit with a powerful knockout hit, then the rest of the hits that are not as strong as that one are probably not going to knock you out. So I think that's what happened. But Jesus and I had a big battle. He did end up fouling a couple times, but besides those fouls, he still slapped the fuck out of me. I slapped him even harder, and he didn't go down, and that's why he remains in the house. I remember after our match, I would just we went up to each other to like just give each other our props, and I just told him, you know what, I hope you make it into the house, or I hope you get a call back for the next season or whatever. And next thing you know, we're both in the house. So it was just it was a great match. I think Jesus and I had that was my favorite fight for sure.
Yeah, I think, like I said, with the shenanigans, I think it actually got away from the actual skill and the technique and the monster slaps that both of you guys had in that fight. It kind of got oversighted, but I think, have you been hit harder since, or has Jesus hit you the hardest?
So I think they have asked me this before, and honestly, I'm not just saying this because Jesus is my friend, but Jesus probably slapped me the hardest, to the point where I'm telling you, those eyes were like, Jesus was probably the hardest slapper. The rest were pretty hard as well. I'm not gonna lie, but I just have that monster chin.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And coming, last week on episode 5, they showed your match with Emanuel Muniz. Obviously, there was some suspense building through the first 4 episodes. Kind of felt like forever for you guys to actually square up in that. I'm sure it happened in a lot closer proximity in real life. And looking back and watching the episode and seeing the guys talk about, wanting to see you go down and stuff like that. Like, was it personal for you, that one? Did you have a chip on your shoulder going into that match that you wanted to prove yourself and prove your skill set?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why you see me not shaking his hand afterwards. When I compete, I tend to have good sportsmanship. I like to acknowledge my opponent. I like to just be like real and like say, hey, great match. I feel like that could have been the case with Emmanuel, but just the fact that all his team was talking shit the whole time, the fact that he brought diapers into the weigh-ins, it was just like, I know I've been portrayed as the disrespectful guy. I've been portrayed as the guy that's not taking things serious. But when it comes down to the day of the fight, when it comes down to the day of the weigh-ins, even the day before, I'm in full monster Azael mode. Like, I'm not there to like fuck around anymore. So I think when he brought in the props, the diaper, and he also brought in a blanket, having these guys just talking all this shit, thinking that Emmanuel was gonna knock me out because he knocked out his first opponent out in one shot. It was just like, you know what? I took it pretty personal against Emmanuel, not the other guys. The other guys I could have like ignored, but at that point, it was pretty personal against Emmanuel, and I think it just bit him in the ass. I tend to not take things personal. If I do take them personal, I tend to use them towards my advantage. All that just like builds me up and like just makes me even stronger than what I am. So I think people moving forward, people fucking with me before our fights, it's not gonna go well.
Yeah. How much respect did you earn after that victory?
Man, that's one of the things that also pissed me off, because a lot of the guys out there still didn't fucking respect me. A lot of them didn't give you that, oh shit, good shit. My teammates for sure did, but the other team is just like, it was filled with people that were just not able to recognize, or if they probably were able to recognize, but they didn't want to recognize. And that just like, to me, just spits out like just jealousy pretty much. I don't know what the fuck to tell them. Like one of the ones that did respect me afterwards, and I really love this about him, was Devin. Devin really came up to me and said, hey, good shit out there, man. And we kind of did have a little discussion about what had happened those nights. And then it was just nice to see Devin every morning. He would just be like, what's up, man? And we would just say what's up to each other. And it was really nice. You want to make friends with that type of person.
Yeah.
So I think that was my biggest, the biggest person that really respected me afterwards.
I mean, obviously, there's been lots of talk and kind of talk with people not giving you the respect, but who in the house gave you the most respect, the most care, who you think is like the genuine best person from your overall experience in the house?
Man, I'm going to say Jesus. Jesus and I just clicked right away, man. And it's super funny because we had our first match. We slapped the shit out of each other. And now here's two dudes like just caring for each other. Jesus was always very, he would always talk about just how much his jaw would hurt. He would just always say, dude, you're so powerful. He would just always like just highlight those things. And it obviously made me happy, And then you also see Jesus just taking care of me whenever I did get drunk. He was just always there by my side, And there was a couple of times also that I wasn't present, and people would just be talking shit about me, and Jesus would be like, he wouldn't talk shit back, but he would just be there to defend me and say, nah, like Azael's actually a pretty good, So Jesus would be the number one guy. That guy is like deserves so much more credit than what they're giving him, and hopefully you guys get to see that in this next match. I think, it's going to be next match because all the rest of the matches are going to be next week.
Yeah. I mean, great segue once again, man. I actually have you been doing this a lot, because you're kind of leading me in question to question, and it's making my job real easy.
I'm not going to lie. If you've seen my interviews in the house, I'm kind of like nervous. It was the first time that I ever did that. So I think it was just a combination of me having all those interviews. And then I have had like a couple before you. which I was also nervous about. So I think today was just the one that I was gonna just be perfect.
Love it, man. Love it. I appreciate you bringing the fire, bringing that energy. Let's talk about Carice Archer, AKA the game changer, a guy that throws with his left and with his right. What are you thinking? What's going through your mind heading into this matchup?
Man, so you gotta. I'm very pro using both hands. I just haven't used my left hand because I'm not gonna use my left hand if I have my right hand. But I think it's a good tactic. I think you're so used to getting hit. In my case, on this side, but then if you out of nowhere get hit on this side and you haven't been hit on this side, but this side could take it. This side is probably not going to be as strong as your other side. So I feel like a good tactic. It's definitely something that would work for him. And I feel like I don't know. It was something that I definitely was just not super concerned about, but I was just like, how is this gonna feel? I had before the match. I remember myself just slapping myself on this side, and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe that side is not as strong as my left side, But yeah, I think it's a great tactic,
Did you think going in before, if you can take the victory in this matchup with Carice, do you think you're in line for a title shot?
I think so. After this last episode, I was ranked number 2. So if all goes well with the Carice fight, I'm hoping that that's the case. I don't see why they wouldn't give me an opportunity for the title shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, definitely, coming up, biggest fight of your life, obviously, with Carice. Let's talk about fouls, because you seem to be a guy that doesn't foul very often, if at all, ever. How important is that to you? And do you consciously think about trying to deliver, good quality, clean, fair strikes every time?
Yeah, so I think my first match against Jesus, that was one of the things that I was super focused about. That was the number one thing that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to do anything with my feet that would cause me to get a foul. I think after that first fight, though, with Emmanuel, it kind of was still in the back of my mind, but I kind of knew that I was a little bit more comfortable than I was before. So then that's why I was able to slap a little bit harder. So I feel like, honestly, for me, my whole tactic coming into slap was just get your technique in, which for me, my technique is my footwork, planting my feet, never moving it. And then after that, just start working your way up to your slap. You can't expect yourself to work first the slap and then work your feet, because then you're going to end up fouling. You have a lot of these guys that were so focused on wanting to execute a powerful slap that they ended up fouling, either by pivoting their feet or even clubbing. So for me, it's super important to just be as precise as possible. Just land an effective blow. I feel like for me, the first shot is usually like a test shot. Usually I like to take that first shot as a test, like pretty much tester. So then after that first one is just my slaps just continue to increase, boom, boom. And I just continue to be more comfortable. So definitely that's something that's always on my mind. That's something that I'm definitely incorporating in my training. And just my slabs keep evolving. So hopefully you guys can see that.
I mean, talking, offense, but also defense. What do you think is more important, to have a strong chin or a deadly knockout slap?
I think the chin, man. You've seen it out there with the 185ers that are still competing. They have a strong chin, and why are they still competing? Because of their chin. I feel like that's the biggest thing to come in with and slap, because if you don't have the chin, you're not gonna get that opportunity. If you lose that coin toss, you're not going to get that opportunity to show your slap. So I feel like chin power is really important. It's just, there's ways to work your chin power, but it's also going to be just, I don't know. I think it's all natural as well, you know?
What do you think separates you from from all of the other 185ers in the division?
I just think I feel like I want this so bad. Like I like the drive for achieving the best that I could in slap is like higher than most of these guys. Um, so yeah, I would say my drive to be the best is there. You may not see it in the show, but it's there. Like I get the opportunity to be on power slap, and why am I not gonna be serious about this? You know, like I'm not here to play games. I'm here to win.
You know, in terms of the opportunities that you've had, you know, the opportunities that are in front of you, where do you kind of see your career going from here?
I see myself in terms of sports. I see myself continuing with power slap. I do plan to go down to 170s and then 160s eventually. That's the 170, 160 range. That's where I wanted to box at. So if I could just move down in weight after, like, if I do get a chance to go in March, go down in weight, start competing in boxing, and then just go back and forth with boxing and slap. Just want to be a pound for pound and slap. And I want to just be able to prove myself that I'm a good boxer as well. So hopefully in the next year, hopefully by the end of the year, I could hopefully get a match in for boxing. Cool. Yeah, but I still power slap is definitely going to be staying here for the long run in my for me.
Awesome, man. I mean, this has been a great interview. I think people have gotten to know you so much more. Is there anything that you actually wish people would know of you? You know, that's different than the way you've been portrayed?
Yeah, man. Just I'm just a friendly guy. I'm not that guy that's aggressive. I have had a lot of hate comments. That's the first time I've experienced that. But then I started thinking, you know, they don't know me. They just know the show. So I kind of want to push people to not just follow me, but follow other fighters as well. You'll get to know them on a better personal basis. You'll see their posts, you know, seeing their Instagram feed, seeing their TikTok, seeing their whatever they have, their Twitter. You get to know a person better than just seeing them on TV. So hopefully if people could take their time to, even if you don't want to follow me, check out my Instagram page. I don't know, message me. I don't know. I'm out there to like, I had one person reach out to me saying how proud he was. I don't even know the guy. And he was like, I'm so proud of you, man. Like, you make me like just so happy. And I was like, man, those are the type of people that I just need people to see the real me, you know, like I'm this genuine person, and people are probably going to see this and be like, oh, he calls himself genuine. Yeah, but you know, no, it's not me. I'm not that person that you see on TV.
Well, where can people follow you? So what platforms and what are your handles?
I have Instagram. It's a work in progress with my social media, because I can't come up with the right name. But for my Instagram, it's Azael, my first name, .d. Luffy. That's like from an anime called One Piece. Yeah, from Instagram, you could just follow me. I think I have all the rest of the tags from there, so just follow me on Instagram.
Cool. I was going to ask you about the anime thing, because I've noticed you post on your story anime fairly frequently. Have you been a fan of anime your entire life, or how'd you get into that?
I have actually I got into it probably my first year of college. I started watching One Piece is like one of the biggest animes out there. I used to watch it when I was a kid, but then I gave myself an opportunity to watch the whole thing my first year of college, and it just, I mean, I've always been into Dragon Ball Z as well. That one since I was like 6 years old or whatever. But the thing with anime, and the thing why I post a lot of it, is just there's there's a lot of the scenes are kind of like just compared to me. There's one that I recently posted, and they're trying to hit this guy, trying to like get him, and he's just there standing, taking all the blows. And it just kind of like, I kind of reflected with that, because that was just everyone trying to knock me out, and just they couldn't phase me. So I love anime. I think if you see me at the gym, I'll be probably listening to some anime soundtrack. It just pumps me up, and it's also really great to like just watch and de-stress, and they're pretty badass, man.
I feel like a total noob. So there's actually such thing as an anime soundtrack?
Yeah, so if you just go, for me, there's a Dragon Ball Z like pump that I put, and it's just
Okay.
like, it's just I don't know if you know Dragon Ball Z, Goku and all the Super Saiyans, they're just powering themselves up, like screaming and stuff. So it's just like, as a kid, that
Gotcha.
used to be me wanting to like turn into a Super Saiyan, scream as loud as I can. So when I'm running and I'm listening to that, and they add like music to it, it's just like pumps the fuck out of me. And then just before my matches, I like to listen to that and just like remember what these like characters did in their battles or whatever. So
yeah,
hey man, I recommend it. DM me if you want recommendations.
awesome, man. Honestly, absolute pleasure to have you on, Azael Rodrigues. Really appreciate you joining me. I hope this is the first of many interviews that we do. Hope I get an opportunity to meet you in person, and people got a better understanding of who you are. So I'll give you the last word. Anything else you want to say for the Slap News fans?
Just thank you guys or everyone, just whoever's watching the show, whoever's watching Corey on Instagram, Slap News. Is that yours? Because I got two. What's your handle?
Slap News, slap_news.
That's good. I got another one that was similar, but yeah, thank you guys for watching Corey as well. Like, just power slap. Like, it's a new sport. It's gonna pop off. I know you guys don't consider a lot of us athletes, but man, we're working our asses off. So thank you all for supporting us, and thank you, Corey, for giving me this opportunity, this open platform.
Absolutely, man.